Hello everyone, welcome back to another Flames War Battle Report, again part of the Gazala campaign. This is going to be Game 3, and it's also going to be a little bit of a midweek madness game as well, so managed to get some nice R&R from work, so what better way to relax than play a strategy based game that involves dice and dice that sometimes can go against you, so nothing to get stressed about at all. So today I am playing Dave, hooked him up. He seemed very keen for this Gazala campaign, and he kindly picked a mission for Game 3, and when I introduce you to my list I'll tell you mainly why he's picked Game 3, which is interesting. So Dave has gone for two formations. In front of you you can see the tried and tested Panzer 3 formation. We have a HQ of 2 tanks, which are 2 up-armoured Panzer 3s. We then have a platoon of 4, and then there are 2 long and 2 short Panzer 3s, and then right at the back we have another platoon all kitted out with up-armoured Panzer 3s. So some nice heavy Panzer 3s for me to deal with again. Second formation is Afrika rifles, so we have the HQ, which is 2 SMG teams. And we have first platoon, which is a full platoon with 4 MG34 teams, and it's also been kitted out with an anti-tank gun, a heavy machine gun and a mortar. Second platoon is pretty much the same, minus the heavy machine gun, but still with that pesky mortar that can cause some havoc every now and again. And we also have at the back 3 5cm tank hunter guns, so quite decent, 89 guns for the Germans. Rounding out the formation, we have 4 schleppers, so some nice artillery template there for the Germans. So luckily I have taken diversionary tactics as part of my list, so if Dave somehow luckily decides to put a cheeky template at the beginning of the game, I get to move it. Only Firestorm units available for the Axis this turn are the Italian Falco aircraft, so kindly this corner of the battlefield hasn't been forgotten by Axis High Command, so these were available and they've been thrown in to help out. So as I say, it's better than a poke in the eye, and hopefully they don't cause me too much trouble. So this is the German list, not bad, some solid armour there and a decent amount of infantry to take on any infantry if I take them. So let's have a look at what I'm bringing. This is my defending list. The mission is counterattack, so I might as well check that one in, also by the heading of the video or in the description you probably noticed that anyway. So I have gone for a Death and Glory squadron. Thought it would be nice to have Crusaders without their fighting in the day rule. So let's have a look at what the formation entails. So I have a HQ of 1 Valentine 3 and 2 Crusader CSs, so some extra artillery there. I then have 2 troops of 3 Valentine 3s, and then I also have 2 troops of 3 Crusader 3s. So again, that's nice compared to the other Crusaders where you have all the 6-pounders together, so a little bit more punching if they can survive a few rounds of shooting, that is anyway. They still hit on 3s, their tactics rating is terrible, but no last stand, so they're just 4 all round for motivation, which is decent enough. Next up, my formations, I have a rifle company, or you could say a Highland or Scottish company. So I have a HQ of 2 SMLE teams, and then I have 2 full platoons, 7 rifle gun teams, a boys anti-tank rifle and a mortar. Also in the formation are 4 6-pounders and 3 units of 3 universal carriers. Felt that obviously I need the spearhead to secure that lone objective, and some mobile Bren gunfire is never too shabby, let's say. So at least I got plenty of them this time. I also have 4 25-pounders, so again some artillery template, and they're not too bad as anti-tank guns as well. So I said Highlanders because I'm using the Bagpiper command card, so it's basically like the Anzac card, but it's 2 points, and everything within 6 inches of the HQ that is an infantry or gun team has a 3+ rally rating, so not too bad. And especially with the situation with this campaign, I might need that, which I'll get into later. I've also taken diversionary tactics as mentioned, and sticky bombs in case things get a bit hairy with tank combat. So no Firestorm units for me, and it's actually a bit worse than that, so I'm out of supply. So for this Firestorm campaign, at the start of the game, so before the list is, after the list is built, after deployment, I have to roll a die. So I'll go through it with you all so you can understand what my problems are. So on a roll of a 1, my morale is reduced, so I get basically -1 to all my units, and this also affects protected ammo, etc. A 2 or a 3, basically I'm low on fuel, so anytime a vehicle team moves or takes part in an assault, I roll a die, and on a 1 it runs out of fuel. So it can't move any further, and if assaulted, it has -2 to assault value, so not very good at all. On a 4 and a 5, it's low ammo, so whenever a unit, unit not team, fires roll a dice, and on a 1 it becomes low in ammo and basically uses its movement rate of fire all the time and can't fire bombardments. And on a 6, which would be a bit nicer, the unit will fight to the death. It has a +1 to its morale value, so that ain't too bad at all. So again, this is why I didn't take Crusaders, because if I rolled a 1, that fight another day becomes a lot worse. So that's the situation for me, and those are both the armies, so let's have a look at the board before deployment. So here we have the table. I forgot to mention during the army recap, there is a chance of a camp scene coming in, so that is a desert wind sandstorm. So basically at the start of each turn we roll a die, and on a 1 it comes in, and night fighting rules are in effect. And then at the start of every turn after that we roll a dice, and on a 5 it goes away. So if you've seen the game with Jimmy versus Sherry in the desert, it did happen, but only for 1 turn. So it'd be interesting if it comes in, and it would be good to stop his aircraft as well. So let's have a look at the board. So we have some scrub here. It's just a little village. This area is nothing, so what we do, we treat this as road dash terrain because it's hard compacted desert. We have some rocky outcrops here, so this is concealment and bulletproof cover to stationary infantry. We have some escarpment, so I chuck a dune in to fill up some terrain, and then we have a little well here, so this one obviously is dried up, damaged, and we have this well, so they put a few walls around it to protect it, and just a little bit of tall terrain there, so you can tell there's some sort of underground water source because we have some palm groves growing. So I get to pick a corner to defend, so I feel the rocky outcrop might be the best for me to try and slow down the Panzers as they come towards the objective, which no doubtly will be here somewhere, and then Dave will pick a corner, he will attack from either the nothing area or from the well area, but either way my reserves will be coming from this corner, so at least they'll have some concealment. So let's see how all the deployment looks. Okay, we are deployed. I've deployed in my quarter here and mostly out of my quarter. So the UCs are on my right flank, are gonna hopefully not too much armour comes down this flank and I can pepper some infantry. My HQ is sitting on the objective, and the infantry here in this rocky ground. I used a unit of UCs to push across using a spearhead. So when you use a spearhead you can move outside of your deployment zone, as long as you don't end up within 16 inches of an enemy unit, enemy deployment area, or an objective outside of your deployment. So they are outside of 16, and of course then you get your nice little bubble that I was able to put some units in. So mainly my 2nd platoon of infantry and some of my 25 pounders. One of them is in my deployment zone, and that is that. So I'm deployed, and Dave over here is deployed. So basically all his Panzers are up front, HQ here, the mixed platoon, and the upper armoured here. So these universal carriers might struggle a bit, but I can always pull them back. We got the platoon without the heavy machine gun here, the one with the anti-tank guns, the HQ, and the schleppers. So that is us fully deployed. Before we start the game, I have the dreaded die roll to see how badly I'm affected by being out of supply. So here we go. It's a 3, so I'll just check what that means, and I doubt it's good. Okay, so that 3 means I am low on fuel. So every time I move a tank unit, I roll a die, and on a 1, they're not moving anymore. And then in combat, they get -2 to their skill, which ain't good since I was wanting to use my UCs as a bit of a cavalry unit. So hopefully I don't roll too many 1s. So going into Dave's first turn, before he does anything, he has a die to roll, and on a 1, the desert winds are brewing.
I just top everything off right now, isn't it? Oh, guess what?
Is it a 1?
It is a 1, yeah.
Right, so the sandstorm, as Dave wanted me to do an effect, so it's blown up. So basically, for any of you who haven't seen this before, night fighting rules are in effect. Dave can move out of his deployment zone, but no aircraft, and basically you can't move more than terrain dash, and everything is +1 harder to hit, and you also need to roll to see how far your units can see to start with. And start on my turn then, and Dave's subsequent turns, we roll a die at the start, and on a 5 it goes. So this is Afrika turn 1. Maybe I should just do a nice blurred out screensaver for this turn, but so here we go, start of the game. Good luck to you, Dave, by the way.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay, off we go. Movement first turn, as the desert wind blows and blinds everyone and cracks the skin. The Panzer 3s have moved onto the crest of this dune, and these universal carriers have just looked up and realised they are outmatched, and they should probably get away from there as quickly as possible. The infantry are pushing up, of course. The mortars are staying behind because you can just about see some stuff. Again, up here, everything has done their terrain dash. Hopefully the winds won't lift too soon, and then this platoon has moved up. HQ has done a successful follow me, and this platoon failed, so they're kind of stuck there for now. And we're going into shooting now, so let's see if the Germans can actually see anything. Mixed bag so far. The Schleppers tried to range in to clip some infantry and a 25-pounder, but failed. The mortars from 2nd platoon tried to do the similar thing, but over on the corner of the 25-pounders and failed. 3rd platoon ranged in, 2nd platoon ranged in first attempt, missed all the 25-pounders, hit a UC, but it got bounced. These guys here then rolled to see how far they could see, and luckily Dave rolled a 2, so you could see the UCs, and the UCs are gone. All hit. So obviously that goes straight through, and then all firepower's passed. So there we go. So these UCs knew they were in a bit of trouble, so there we go. So start of my turn, let's see if this sandstorm has gone. It has gone. Interesting. And then I have 1 dice to see if my reserves come in. And I do get reserves. Hooray! So we'll get into that movement, and we'll see where I end up. This is where I put my reserves on from. Luckily the Crusaders are quite rapid, and they look like they have fuel in their tanks as well, which is more than I can say for this universal carrier by here who rolled a 1. So my mobile cavalry unit in the form of the UCs are going to struggle, especially since one is already dead. These ones have cross-country dash to hide, and these guys have gone into the building with the thanks of follow me. So luck with a good placement by Dave for this objective, because it's outside of 4 inches of all of the buildings, so someone's going to have to go out to actually contest it. So that is my movement. So let's get into some shooting for me and get some revenge for my UCs. Nice easy summary of the shooting. I did manage to get 1 hit with my Crusaders, needing a 6, but Dave bounced it on a 6. and I got no hits on the HQ under the template. So getting a bit ropey already. Lucky I'm not low on ammo too. So going into Dave's turn 2, the only thing he has to roll for to see if his aircraft come in on a 4+.
Alright, okay. Is it 2 dice, Rob, or is it...
1 dice.
1 dice, okay, we'll take that. Right. I get a 2.
Nope, so no Italian aircraft this turn. So, German turn 2. German movement, the infantry are pushing up across the hill, and these guys look like they're going to go onto the crest of the escarpment and pound my guys into submission in the rocky ground. The HQ Panzer IIIs have blitz moved so they can all get into range of my Crusaders. The Schleppers have moved around, just rotated on the spot. This guy tried to move out so he could get some shots on them, but he failed his cross-check. The platoon of infantry here, with the help of a follow me, have got 2 teams in the building, and the rest didn't have enough movement to get in yet. And as you can see, the other panzers have moved up to look at the objective. And there we are at the end of movement for turn 2, and let's see how many of these Crusaders he can kill. Okay, so for the shooting, the Schleppers managed to blow up a Crusader, and thanks to the HQ unit they managed to bail another one, so these could run if they don't get back in. Elsewhere, the artillery was ineffective. Both mortar teams are now ranged in on here, but I've got no hits so far. A Panzer III managed to hit an infantry team in here with the main gun, and these 2 UCs have been bailed out by the other Panzer IIIs, so he's good at hitting stuff, it's just the firepowers are letting him down for now. So, motivations first. So, my bailed out UCs, none of them get back in, and my bailed out Crusader doesn't get back in either, so ropey. So first of all, the last stand on the Crusader is a 1, they're gone, and the UCs is a 4. I don't think that is enough. No, they're gone as well, so that is 2 more units gone. And then I have my 2 dice for reserves, and I get 1 more unit in to play with. So let's see what I fancy taking as I dish up the casualties. So with the setbacks of things running out of fuel and deciding to run away, luckily my Valentines have come in and they haven't run out of fuel yet. I've decided to pop my ambush. It is a little premature, but I don't want Dave overrunning the positions where I can, because these don't provide concealment to gun teams, so unfortunately I can't go within 4 inches, because it would be nice to pop it by there, even though it is a risk for the infantry. So that is what I've done this turn. So now I'm going to go into the shooting and see if I can pick off some Panzer IIIs here and there. Okay then, so with the shooting, quite reasonable success. So I've pinned down the Afrika rifle platoon and killed one of the bases. I bailed out a Panzer III and killed a Panzer III, and that was just with the 25-pounder bombardment. And the Valentine somehow managed to kill a long-barreled Panzer III, so that was quite good. Everything else was ineffective. My 6-pounders did get 2 hits on the Panzer III, and I did have a chance for a bail, but I fluffed my firepower. So going into German turn 3, Dave has a bailed out Panzer III, but roll 2 dice for him because your HQ is right next to it, and it's 3s to get back in.
Okie dokes. So I get a 4 and a 2.
Yep, so he is back in. And then you have a pin down platoon, which is rallying on a 4, but your formation commander is right next to them, so roll 2 dice.
Okay. Yeah, that's a 4 and a 5.
Okay, and then again, roll to see if your aircraft come in on a 4+. Okay, so as they come on with the Italians, there's a chance that they are veterans. So Dave doesn't have an 8 million dice 8 million bayonet dice, but roll a dice, and on a 1 or a 6, they are elite.
Okie dokes, right. No, I got a 5.
Okay, so
just normal dice.
for everyone wondering why I said a 1 or a 6, if you look at the 8 million bayonet dice, if you're lucky enough to have one, it's on opposite ends of a die, so 1 and a 6 is opposite ends, so I thought that would be the best way to do it. So they will come on where Dave decides to bring them on, and we'll get into the turn. As I feared, these guys have gone onto the crest of the hill to hose down my infantry. Everything else, the Panzer IIIs have moved to deal with the newly emerged Valentines, while the infantry are moving around into these buildings to probably drive away my infantry, or even worse, my 25-pounders. So fairly good manoeuvring from Dave so far, but let's see if he can back that up with his shooting. And also, yes, the planes are on and looking right at my 6-pounders, so I feel a bomb is coming. The planes ranged in on the 6-pounders, no kills, but they did pin them. The 2 Panzer IIIs here hosed down my 6-pounders with MG fire. I failed 3 saves, and then I started sweating, but then luckily Dave failed his firepower to 6 up, so that was fortunate. The one casualty that did happen though was my 25-pounder got dropped by a measly 2.8cm mortar, but that's what you get when they're ranging in all the time. So going into my third turn, I have for once no bailed out tanks that can potentially run away, but I do have pinned down units. So the 25-pounder, it remains pinned on a 1, and then I have 2 dice for my 6-pounders, and they do rally on a 3 and a 6. All I needed was a 3 because of the bagpipes from the formation commander. So they're rallied, luckily. And then I have 3 dice for reserves. Let's just see if anything will come on. So one's off the table already. And nothing. So just 1 unit for this turn, unfortunately. So, British, turn 3. I decided to bring more Crusaders on. I'm just running the gauntlet of the 5cm guns now. This idiot ran out of fuel as soon as he comes onto the battlefield, so he's got there, but that's about it. At least he can fire from there. Decided now would be a good time to have my cavalry UCs to move around the ridge to deal with the marauding infantry, and guess what, another one has run out of fuel, so the UCs are really starting to struggle this game, but it's posing quite humorous at the moment, so I'm getting to the point where I'd rather keep my tanks still because they might permanently end up like that at some point. So that is my movement. Haven't moved everything out anymore, everything else has just remained stationary. So there we go. So let's see if my shooting is better than my capacity for fuel. Okay, so with my shooting, I managed to kill a up-armoured Panzer III with my 6-pounders. Got 2 hits on the infantry here, but no kills. And I got a lot of hits on the infantry here, but also no kills. And unfortunately got quite a few hits on the German tanks, even with a rear hit from a 25-pounder, but no kills here as well. So Dave's saves are really saving him. There we go. So going into German turn 4, Dave has a pinned down infantry platoon that has 2 dice because the formation commander is right next to it. So 2 dice for you, Dave. You need 4s to rally.
Okay. 2 4s.
Nice. And then a 4 to bring your aircraft in.
Okay. Yeah, I got a 5.
Nice. So aircraft are in, and German turn 4. This platoon here has moved into the cover, and one of the Panzer IIIs have gone off the crest of the hill to deal with the universal carriers that could pose a problem. The Italian aircraft have gone after this building. These Panzer IIIs have moved so their arse is not exposed to the 25-pounder anymore. and the HQs remain still as they were already out of range anyway. And this platoon is pushing around again to here. So there we are for the end of the movement for turn 4. So we're going into shooting phase. Let's hope Dave's luck will run out at some point. German shooting. They managed to bail a UC with a direct shot from the Panzer III. Luckily the firepower saved it. No casualties here, but everything is pinned, apart from the HQ and the 6-pounder, shall I say, so not everything. These guys in the building got pinned by a bomb from the aircraft who were ranging in first time every time. Only kill was a mortar. My poor Crusaders are being picked on by the Panzer III's, 1 kill and 1 bail, and I've also lost a Valentine as well to the HQ Panzer III's. So I'm getting whittled down bit by bit. So in my startup step, I have a bailed universal carrier and does not get back in on a 3, and I have a bailed Crusader that gets back in on a 4. Now it's on to my pin down units. So I have a pin down platoon in the rocks, 2 dice for them. I get a 6 and a 2. And I'm rolling 2 because of my unit leader. And then the guys in the building, I get a cock dice first up, and then I get a 4. So that's nice. So they're unpinned. And these pesky aircraft need to go away. And I have no last stands for once. So we're going into British turn 4, and first up I have 4 dice for reserves. And 1 more unit comes in. So now we're going into turn 4. End of my movement, another Valentine has come on with a dry tank. The other 2 have moved here so they can get some clear shots onto these Panzer III's. My infantry have moved out of this building to have a go at his, and that is it. I did roll to rally my 25-pounders, but they're not having any of it. So that is where we're looking again, going into turn 4. Shooting, shall I say, so let's get to it, and let's see if my shooting can be a little bit better this turn. With my shooting, I managed to kill a Panzer III with my 6-pounders. I also dropped a MG-3014 with my rifles, and they are pinned as well. This team up here has been pinned thanks to a mixed effort from this platoon and the platoon in the rocks here. The 25-pounders tried to add some support but missed completely. Over here, my Valentines and Crusaders with their efforts managed to bail one of the Panzer III's. So hopefully he won't get back in, and we are going into an assault here, and hopefully it can drive these infantry away. Turn of the assaults, I managed to get rid of most of the team, only 2 stands left, and even with a reroll from the formation commander they broke away, and their remnants are by here. So going into turn 5, Dave, you have a bailed out Panzer III getting back in on a 3+. Nice, so he is back in. There's no more bailed out stuff, but you have a pinned down platoon in the building. Ryan on a 4.
2 dice next to the HQs there as well.
Yep.
Yep. Oh shit, a 2 and a 1.
Right, so they remain pinned. You have a pinned team in the rocks.
Yep. Right, is that 2 dice again?
Just 1 for them, again on a 4+.
1, sorry, yeah. No, they're still pinned.
Okay, so we're on to last stand town now. So you've got the guys in the building, a last standing on a 3+, but they have 2 dice.
Yeah. 3 and 4, so they're okay.
Okay, and then you have your Panzer III on the escarpment, who is last stand on a 3+ again.
Okay. A 1.
Right, so he drives away. Okay, so we go, and also 1 dice for aircraft on a 4+ again.
Okay. No, I get a 3.
Okay, so they're not coming in, and we are into German turn 5. For movement, these guys have stayed where they are. In rocky terrain, stationary infantry are in bulletproof cover, so there's no need to dig in, and they're pinned anyway, so might as well happy to keep them like that. Dave has moved 2 of the regular Panzer IIIs onto the objective, with the hull front armour facing the 25 pounders and the turret front armour facing the rest of my tanks. All the other infantry remaining from that platoon have gone into the building and beyond the walls to get into bulletproof cover, and the 2 HQs remain stationary to try and plug away at the remaining tanks by here. So still very ropey now, but at least now Dave is starting to sweat a little bit, which is a bit better for me. So going into German turn shooting, let's see if I can weather this for a little bit more. In the shooting down by here, this platoon split his fire between the 6 pounders and the UC. He hit the UC and he decided to put it on the one without fuel, and I rolled a 6 and he failed his firepower, so somehow that had bounced. I lost 2 infantry teams due to repeated artillery bombardments from schleppers and mortars. Another mortar tried to range in but failed. I lost another Crusader, and that is my casualties over here, although the other Crusader is most likely going to run away. So first of all, I have my bailed out universal carrier, gets a 3, so remains bailed. Now for pinned down unit, so my infantry platoon gets a 3, so remains pinned, and my 25 pounders still pinned on a 3. So I have my last stand on the Crusader, who gets a 3, so he rolls away. So that's 3 3s there in a row. So Crusader drives away, and I will get my reserves in at least. So British turn 5. With my movement, I've got these guys to try and clear out this mob of infantry with a lot of fire from them. Might as well get the 6 pounders, there's nothing else for them to shoot at. And I've moved some Valentines to get a bit closer to this lot here, and this is where everything else has turned up. So I need to clear these off, otherwise I'm in trouble, big trouble. So here we go again, shooting step, and let's see if I can get something this time. This is the result so far, so basically just a bail on there. So he's getting re-rolls though, so he's been double bailed already, so he needs to get back in with 2 dice on a 3, which is easy, and then his last stand on a 3. So as if he stays around, Dave's got game, because this would be turn 6 and I'm not contesting, because these unfortunately got pinned. If they'd rallied, I could have mopped this up. But it's not over yet this turn. I'm going to see if I can get rid of this platoon and lower his margin of victory somewhat. I don't want to grant him a stunning victory and no stretch of the imagination. I'm going to let him have an easy win here. So here we go. So I've wiped out that platoon, which is nice. Nice for Dave to stay trying the counterattack to get rid of them. So the all-important bit as we go into turn 6. Dave, roll a dice. You need a 3+ to get back in.
Right, so 2 dice, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. I get a 4 and a 1.
Okay, so he's in, and then you got your pinned down infantry unit, so 2 dice for him, rallying on a 4.
And I get a 6 and a 1.
Nice. And then you got a last stand to test to do on that guy as well, 2 dice, needing 3s.
And I get a 5 and a 2.
So he stays wrong, and then your last stand on your tank, requiring 3s.
Okay. Oh my god. Oh, 2 and a 1.
See, this is why I made him roll that one last. So he drives away, so it's not game yet, and also formation last stand, the other Panzer IIIs drive away. Okay, so you get 1 dice for reserves.
Me?
Oh no, sorry, aircraft.
Right, okay. I get 5.
Yep, they're in, so at least I have aircraft to deal with now, although the tanks are finally gone. So at this point, I didn't expect to see myself still recording this game, but there we go. So the HQ and the remnants of that platoon, they have gone to contest the objective, otherwise it will be game over for the Germans. They do have aircraft coming in though, so that's not going to be fun for this platoon. And there's the question though, of whether my tanks will run out of petrol, so that actually enabled me to get towards this lot. So it's not simple. Okay, so we're going into shooting. See, there's a bomb about to be dropped, and there's also the 5cm tank hunters are still in range of my Valentines here. So hopefully I can survive some fuselages. So this platoon is down to 2 bases thanks to, one, me not being able to roll saves, and Dave basically having weapons with firepower 3+ or 2+ hitting them. So these guys will probably run away or not rally, either one. So it's down to my tanks, which are low on fuel, to try and dig these guys off, while these guys are going to really try and run for it over here. So going into British turn 6, I have my pinned down rifle platoon. Oh no, I have my bailed out UC, who has got a cocked dice, who gets a 4, so he's back in. My pinned down team by here gets a 4, so rally, and the 25-pounders, again, decide not to rally, so there we go. And then I have my last stand by here, a 4, so they do stick around, so these 2 bases might do something. So we're going to British turn 6. So with the movement, it turns out I had 2 more empty tanks. So this guy ran out of fuel, and then this guy ran out of fuel. So I had to put this guy, and it turns out I actually had 1 guy left in this unit. So I've put him behind the tank, so he's in bulletproof cover at least. This universal carrier, who hasn't run out of fuel yet, has cross-country dashed as close as he can to this lot, and my infantry are running over as well. Some of them cross-country and some of them terrain dashing because they're over there. Because the way this battle's going, they might actually be needed, so I'm not just going to keep them over there like I normally would do. So hopefully I can whittle these down with my MGs and go from there. So British shooting. So with all my MG shots, I only managed to get 4 hits, but I did get a kill. So we are going into German turn 7, and basically all I need to do is kill this guy and it is game over. I started to sweat a bit then, but I just remembered they are within 4 inches, so I am going to assault with them, so hopefully this will go a little bit better. But again, I need to roll to see if I have empty tanks. So I'll get back to you to see what happens. So the assault is over. This lone Valentine did quite a bit of damage, but then he failed to counter, and then he ran out of fuel, so he died. But then these 2 managed to get in and finish off what was left. So there's nothing there, so it is a British victory, but at a cost of mostly universal carriers, but some Valentines as well. So a very... I don't know, I don't feel I deserved the win, because it was very poor. Well, first of all, the refueling of my tanks was done very badly, and also I'm glad I didn't actually have low ammo, because that would have really made things worse. So, Dave, who was your MVP for your side?
Definitely my aircraft, 100%.
Yeah, they did help out quite a lot.
Yeah, they came in, especially that last sort of round they came in. They took out like three rifle platoon units, didn't they? So did really well for me. Then whittled you down to just having 1 left, which gave me the chance to win, and then messed up.
My MVP. My MVP is probably going to have to be the 2 Valentines that came in and finished the game, because apart from that, no one else really deserved any kind of honourable mention in this. They either run out of fuel, or they didn't hit anything, or didn't penetrate anything. But yeah, my infantry did reasonably well. but I think that platoon not unpinning when they were desperately needed. To be honest, I want to give the MVP to the fact that you couldn't last stand that last Panzer 3. It was probably the thing that won it for me more than anything. But yeah, so that is, check the actual score. The actual score is a 6-3 victory. But I heard from Mark at Breakthrough that this game 3 is pretty much already decided. So hopefully the stress I went through to try and win this game actually just resulted in a British win in the end. So join me again on Saturday where me and James are playing game 5. I actually have supplies this time, but he's got like quite a lot of infantry coming, and the mission is dust up. So we've both had a really big headache of what units to actually bring. So it should be interesting. He's decided again, he's gone for Panzer 3s, and I've gone for Grants this time. So yeah, so that's that 5+ fight another day rule coming in. So again, thank you Dave for your contribution to the game. An excellent game. Okay. And if anyone's noticed a little jingle on my channel lately, it was thanks to Dave doing that. Very nice, makes my channel sound a little bit better at the beginning, and so there we go. So please have a look out for Saturday afternoon when it goes live, the next game, and everyone stay safe. So ciao for now.